You don't need closure. That might be hard to hear, because we've been taught that healing requires answers, that peace requires explanation, that moving on requires a final conversation. But it doesn't. Sometimes the truth is simple. You won't get the apology. You won't get the explanation. You won't get the ending you hoped for. And waiting for it keeps you stuck. Closure feels comforting in theory. It feels like if someone would just explain themselves, if they would just admit what happened, if they would just say the right words, then you could finally breathe. But most of the time, closure never comes that way. Sometimes people leave without clarity, without honesty, without accountability, and you're left holding the confusion. You replay conversations, you question yourself, you search for signs you missed. You try to find meaning in silence. But silence is not a puzzle to solve. It's an answer. The hard truth is this: closure is something you give yourself. It doesn't arrive from someone else. It arrives when you decide that your peace matters more than their explanation. You don't need to understand every detail to move forward. You don't need to know why someone acted the way they did. You don't need to decode their behavior to heal. Sometimes people do what they do because of who they are, not because of who you are. And waiting for closure can quietly become emotional dependence. You tell yourself, I just need one more conversation. But what you're really saying is, I'm not ready to accept that this ended. Acceptance feels heavy, but waiting feels heavier. You don't need closure because not every story ends neatly. Some chapters end abruptly. Some relationships end without warning. Some friendships fade without explanation. That doesn't mean you failed. It means the season ended. Closure is overrated because it assumes someone else holds your healing. They don't. You do. Healing begins when you stop needing the other person to understand what they did. It begins when you accept that their silence is part of the story, and you don't have to chase it anymore. You don't need closure to know you deserved better. You don't need closure to recognize disrespect. You don't need closure to move forward. You need clarity about yourself, what you tolerate, what you value, what you won't accept again. That's real closure. Real closure is learning, it's growing, it's choosing differently next time. Sometimes the lack of explanation protects you. If someone showed you who they were, believe that. Not their words, not their promises, their actions. Closure is not about final conversations. It's about final decisions. The decision to stop replaying. The decision to stop hoping for a different ending. The decision to protect your peace. You don't need closure because your growth doesn't depend on their maturity. It depends on yours. And maturity is realizing that not every question needs an answer. Some answers are shown, not spoken. If someone could walk away without explaining, that's information. If someone could hurt you without remorse, that's information. Use it. Don't beg for understanding from someone who chose silence. That silence already told you enough. You don't need closure. You need boundaries. You need acceptance. You need the strength to say, this ended and I'm allowed to move on. Healing doesn't require permission. It requires decision. So if you're waiting for one last message, one last apology, one last explanation, ask yourself honestly, what would change? Would their words undo what happened? Or are you just hoping for validation? You can validate yourself. You can say, that hurt, that mattered, that wasn't okay. And then you can let go. Closure isn't something someone gives you. It's something you choose. And when you choose peace over answers, you finally move forward. Welcome to Human Lessons 87.